Strength never grows in peaceful soil. It forms in the quiet corners where no one sees, where pressure stalks the mind day after day. A person isn't broken by a single tragedy. Destruction happens in fragments. Tiny pieces chipped away by years of silence, betrayal, and burdens inherited from others. And often, the damage is so slow that it becomes familiar, almost comfortable. Toxicity rarely enters like a storm. It arrives like a season. First tolerated, then normalized, eventually accepted as the only reality. People adapt to chaos not because they're strong, but because they forget life can exist without it. That's how entire futures rot, not dramatically, but quietly. A mind can be reshaped by its environment far faster than a body. Surround poison long enough, and it becomes difficult to distinguish loyalty from manipulation, care from control, responsibility from slavery. Generations repeat the same patterns simply because the darkness feels known and the unknown feels threatening. This is how chains are forged without metal. Most burdens carried in life were never meant to be held. Family, friends, strangers, it doesn't matter. Everyone hands out their suffering like an inheritance. Some take it without thinking, believing endurance equals virtue. But in reality, inherited pain creates more prisoners than heroes. Peace becomes terrifying to those who've lived too long in dysfunction. Stillness feels suspicious. Kindness feels undeserved. And suffering feels normal. Such minds grow sharp, strong, and wounded, a combination that can birth monsters or leaders. The difference lies only in perspective. Growth requires surrendering the weight that never belonged to the soul. But surrender is often misunderstood as weakness. In truth, releasing unnecessary burdens is the first act of true power. A blade does not cut sharper by collecting rust. Neither does a life sharpen by carrying unnecessary weight. Every person eventually reaches a moment when the mind rebels. When the internal voice that's been ignored for years erupts like a battlefield. That voice questions everything once accepted. Why was this burden embraced? Why was this suffering normal? Why should a life be dictated by wounds created by others? That moment is the beginning of awakening. Not a loud awakening, a silent, cold realization. The kind that shatters illusions without mercy. The kind that rewrites an entire destiny. Toxicity thrives on silence. Once the silence ends, the cycle dies. And when the cycle ends, something far more dangerous emerges. A mind that has tasted both destruction and clarity. A mind that understands the cost of staying blind. A mind that chooses reality over comfort. Freedom isn't a gentle path. It demands detachment, courage, and the willingness to be misunderstood. But those who embrace it reclaim their life piece by piece until the weight finally breaks instead of the spirit. And in that moment, a truth becomes undeniable. A person becomes unstoppable the moment they refuse to live under suffering that was never theirs to begin with.